Started here. My name is Lynn Voss with GoldenCare. I am joined today by GoldenCare's Underwriting Specialist, Renee Stutes. She's going to be going over some of those key points with underwriting, even though short-term care, even though some of these policies aren't as complicated as some of the other types of extended care solutions available, there are some things to watch out for. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her.
Again, my name is Renee Stutes. I am the underwriting specialist for GoldenCare USA. Just want to give you a little bit of background in case we haven't met just yet. I have a bachelor's in health science. I have a master's in leadership. I have been a professor for many colleges in the Southeast Texas area since 2008. I've taught subjects such as pharmacology, anatomy and physiology, clinical skills, law and ethics, just to name a few. Most recently, I was program director for an allied health program here in Houston before pivoting into the insurance space with Manhattan Life. There, I served as the underwriting manager for 3.5 years, starting with Medicare Supplement. Luckily, I was with Manhattan Life since Omniflex was just an idea. And now, Omniflex has grown into something that I'm so incredibly proud of and passionate about. So today, I want to get into some issues that are prevalent in underwriting, discover some resources that are available to you to help close more sales quickly. And I really hope that you all enjoy this webinar and you find it very informative. So just to let you know, Omniflex is available and now in 37 states. As of 4/14, Maine is now available, and there are many more states to come. So once again, welcome everyone. Today we're tackling a crucial topic, mastering the basics of underwriting. We're going to look at some of the pitfalls, why they happen, and how you can avoid them to streamline approvals and reduce delays. So if you've ever wondered why a certain application has triggered a PHI, a personal health interview, or why some get declined, you are certainly in the right place today. So an agent called me last month after losing out on their commission because they didn't ask about pending tests upon intake of their application. Another one emailed me just this week because their diabetic client was approved with limited benefits due to taking 55 units of insulin daily. So let's make sure that this doesn't happen to you. Underwriting itself is all about risk assessment. The more precise the information that is received up front, the smoother the process is going to go. But if you put a vague diagnosis, if you're missing medication details, if the applicant is pending tests or treatment that hasn't been performed, those things can often slow things down, and it can often also lead to a decline. So we want to break it all down. Really quickly, I want you guys to look at the structure of the health questions, and you're going to see that the underwriting criteria is listed within the health question. So underwriting is based upon the application upon each health question. So you'll see that the time frame, have you ever, are you currently, or within the last X amount of months, been treated for, diagnosed with, or prescribed medications for, and then specific conditions -3 that we are going to discuss shortly, or they're all within that application question. So just wanted to remind you of that. You have the underwriting criteria right there at your fingertips with the health questions. So in this section 1, if they can answer no to these questions, you can proceed to the section 2 question. And it tells you right there on the application. If you're filling out the e-app, you're going to do section 2 first and then come to this question, these set of questions. But we're just looking at the paper app now. And in this section, part 2, if they can answer no to these questions, they can get full benefits. If they answer yes to any of these questions, they're not declined. They still can get some coverage available, and that's that up to $100 a day for their benefits for the base home health rider and hospital indemnity rider, but no simple inflation rider would be available to them. So you can see, looking at these conditions, they still can get some coverage if they've had a stroke, CHF, organ transplant, they have diabetes that requires a lot of insulin, a lot of medications, they have issues with mobility, they've had an amputation caused by disease, if they're on oxygen, those types of things are still insurable, just at a lower benefit level. So phone health interviews. Phone health interviews are what we like to call clarification calls. Those happen when the medications on the application do not correspond with the RX check, or the diagnosis doesn't match the use of the medication, or the RX check reveals medications that could indicate a condition that is underwritten. Where are we seeing the most phone health interviews? I'll tell you. And that is for non-definitive diagnosis. So if the agents put something like pain, cardiac protection, blood thinner, blood sugar, water pill, mood, or if they put a diagnosis on the application that might potentially decline or reduce benefits and the full details aren't there, then that's going to lead to a call. So when we see a diagnosis like pain, heart, cardiac protection, those aren't actual medical diagnosis. That's not a diagnosis. That's a symptom, or um, that's just something that the medication is used for, like blood thinner, blood sugar. Okay. That's not a diagnosis. So we need to know the diagnosis, because the diagnosis is what's underwritten. So to assist in expediting applications, distinguish between a symptom and a diagnosis. So when we see pain, the underwriters might start thinking that could be a neuromuscular or neurological condition. So they're going to call, because the diagnosis in this situation could be like arthritis, neuropathy. They could have migraines. They may have had knee surgery. They may have carpal tunnel. So many different things could potentially be pain. So we need to know what is the pain coming from? Something like mood, we need to know, is it a symptom of depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, PTSD? And it's those mood disorders, they're not going to reduce your benefits. It's the psychotic disorder, such as schizophrenia, that could potentially reduce the benefits. Blood thinner, blood sugar, water pill, again, not a diagnosis. So, like for blood thinner, you may want to put AFib, or they had a blood clot in 2020, they had a stroke in 2018. So these are things, little red flags that are coming up when they're seeing that they're on a blood thinner, they're on a blood sugar pill, they're on a water pill. Water pill, that could be congestive heart failure, or they could have hypertension. They could have kidney failure. They could have edema in their legs for standing. So we always need to know, as underwriters, what is the diagnosis, not the symptom. And one more pitfall that we see with diabetic applicants is we need a clear diagnosis for any conditions that the diabetic also has in addition to the diabetes, especially if it's concerning an organ like the heart or the kidneys, the eyes, or the nerves, because those are going to be declinable conditions. If they have diabetes with neuropathy, diabetes with heart failure, things like that could be a decline. So quick tip is to always pair the medication with a diagnosis. If the applicant is on a water pill, are they treating hypertension, kidney disease, CHF? This little small detail can prevent unnecessary phone interviews and delays. So what that means for your commission is, if you catch it early, you've saved the sale, that's money in your pocket. If you miss it, that's wasted time, an annoyed client, and no or delayed commission. So this is what we're talking about. This part on the application is what we're talking about. So just glancing at this one right here, this is where the underwriter's spidey senses start tingling. So they're saying Celexa, that's great. They filled out Celexa fine. Celexa is used for depression. Depression is an underwritten, big deal. They're going to skim right past that. But then they're starting to see the blood thinner, the fluid, the blood sugar. And then now they've got a diabetic with tingling. And then they've also listed tamoxifen as cancer. So now the spidey senses of this underwriter are just going crazy. So they are either, one, going to decline it because they've listed tamoxifen, they're taking it every day for cancer, or they're going to have to PHI this one. So let's just clean it up a little bit and think they're looking at these prescription clues. So if I want you to think like an underwriter, this is what we are thinking as underwriters. So again, the Celexa was great. The carvedilol, that's common for heart issues and blood pressure, but it's listed as blood thinner. So now the underwriter's thinking, is it a stroke? Is it for heart failure, a clot? So those three things is what they're really looking for. If it's a stroke, we're going to reduce benefits. Lasix, Lasix is used for fluid retention. So the underwriter's thinking, well, maybe they have congestive heart failure. So they're going to have to call and clarify the diagnosis. Insulin, as I mentioned earlier, the agent who had reduced benefits because their client was taking 55 units of insulin. So insulin is used for insulin-dependent diabetes. So we need to know how many units are they taking. And here, I apologize, it says more than 50 is a decline. It's not a decline, it's a reduction in benefits. Gabapentin. Gabapentin is used for nerve pain, what we would also call neuropathy. They've listed on the application tingling. Tingling is vague, so we need to confirm if it's diabetic neuropathy. And then tamoxifen. This is seen often. A lot of times when someone has had cancer, they continue to take the medications for years after, just as a prevention. So if that's the case, if you have somebody that's still on a cancer med, but they've been cleared for treatment for over 2 years, they can still apply and they can still get full benefits. So you want to make sure for your breast cancer, prostate cancer, those types of things, that you list that it's for prevention and state that they were clear since however many years they've been clear. So it's simple things on the application like that that can speed up the process for you. Now, interesting here is that most declines come from health question number 4 in section number 1. And all that question is asking is within the past 12 months, have you been advised to have tests, treatment, or surgery that has not yet been performed, or do you have pending test results? So while you may ask this upon intake, if someone has called for a phone health interview or that clarification call, this question is re-asked in every single call. So you want to make sure that you're very clear with your client that you've asked this, you've re-asked this, and you're very clear. So that's where most of the declines are coming from. It's re-asked every time. So even if in your office or on that phone call when you intake this person, ask them, well, will you be seeing your doctor soon? Because by the time the app is between the time the app is submitted and the underwriter gets it, they may have had a doctor visit and the doctor has said, well, we're going to schedule you for an MRI. We're going to schedule you for a CAT scan. So make sure that you're aware too of what they have going on. So that is a knockout question, but it's rarely encountered when I receive any pre-qual emails, and the agent seems surprised that if that it comes up that their applicant is declined based on this question. So just to clarify, those tests don't include routine screenings like their mammograms, their bone density scans, their routine lab work, things like that. Screening tests, not a big deal. We want them to have those. But it's those pending diagnostic tests that would determine a stage of cancer, even if it's presumed it's going to be clear, carotid artery studies, ultrasounds, things like that. Those are going to be the testing that's included in this. Has the applicant been told in the last year that they should have a surgery and it has not been performed? And also, is the applicant receiving any ongoing physical therapy or spinal injections? So make sure that you ask this question when you're pre-screening your applicants. Another delay is sometimes the agents want to send in the medications after the application has already been sent in. So by day 3 or 4, the application has already been through underwriting, a decision has been likely made. If they see significant meds that are not on the app, but they appear in the RX report, then a call has already been made to your client. But if they do see things like thyroid, allergy, cholesterol, those wouldn't be alarming. But medications not disclosed on the application could cause problems later during claims if the medications were for a condition that is underwritten. So agents should be vigilant about putting the meds on the app or notifying STC underwriting within about an hour or two of submission because they're super fast. That app is already moving within a couple of hours from submission. So no meds on the app, but they do see significant meds in the RX profile, they are going to call your client. So if you wait to send meds, that could either end up in an auto decline, an auto PHI, commission loss, time wasted, client unhappy. So try to be very careful about getting those meds in or getting them in quickly. So again, that's STC underwriting at manhattanlife.com. Get those in quick as you can. So we were talking about those health questions that may be a little gray on the app. So cognitive and functional, um, cognitive, psychotic, neurological, neuromuscular, those types of questions, those are a little gray on the app. So let's clear up some of those from an underwriting perspective. These signs often point towards potential cognitive or neurological impairment, like using a walker, having seen a neurologist. They might not seem significant on their own, but together, if you're looking at things like gabapentin, seizure drugs, those would paint a clearer picture. So asking the right questions right here would help avoid surprises in underwriting. And always, 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 when you're in doubt, call me because this is a gray zone and I can help you navigate this. So when we're talking about cognitive disorders, and this question is in section 1, cognitive disorder versus normal aging would be misplacing your keys. That's normal aging, right? We all do it all the time. But if they forget what the keys are for, then that could be an indication that they may have a cognitive disorder. If you see them with the use of a cane, a walker, or wheelchair, they have a history of a neurologist visits, or they've had brain scans, or you see that they're taking medications for seizures, Parkinson's, or nerve pain, those could indicate a neurological, neuromuscular, or cognitive disorder. This slide covers key mental health indicators that often require further clarification. Remember, with this product, psychotic disorders are the ones that are underwritten, things like depression, anxiety, bipolar, those things are okay. So be very careful and not just put a mood disorder because the underwriters want specifics. So if your client mentions psych hospitalizations within the last 2 to 3 years, they're taking antipsychotics like Risperdal, Abilify, or Seroquel, those vague diagnoses such as mood disorder, if they have a history of suicide attempts or self-harm, or if they're exhibiting any cognitive symptoms that are tied to their mental illness, those would be mental health red flags. And if you need help questioning your client, you can always reach out to me to assist in those situations. Sometimes those are a little sticky. So you feel a little shy in asking those types of questions. So it's fine if you want to reach out to me and ask, hey, how can I phrase these questions? So we want to know as underwriters, is it mild depression or is it schizophrenia? We want to make sure all the medications and their purposes have been listed. We want to make a note if they have hallucinations, paranoia, if they have any memory loss. You want to confirm their decision-making capacity if a caregiver is involved. That caregiver is going to be a big clue to you, whether you need to question a little more deeply. And again, always pre-screen with me if you are in doubt, because taking the time to clarify the details up front helps avoid time-consuming PHIs or surprising declines later. Neurological and neuromuscular conditions. These conditions, that's another gray area because that's what it says on the app. Neurological or neuromuscular diseases is what's listed. So these conditions affect the brain, the spinal cord, muscles. They're typically going to be a reduction in benefits. So watch for red flags like mobility aids, tremors, physical therapy without a clear diagnosis. If the symptoms are disclosed without a named condition, follow up to identify the underlying issue. It may just take a phone call to their doctor. Hey, what am I being treated for? What am I taking this medication for? Do that little bit of footwork beforehand before you submit the app to kind of expedite that. Because remember, Clarifying before submission may avoid a decline, a reduction of benefits, a PHI, and possible delayed commission. Pre-screen every sale if you have to. Pre-screen every client. That's going to save your sale. Call me with the tricky meds. Use Instapivot. Send your cases early before you even have that appointment, because we want to avoid PHIs. We want to avoid the reduction in benefits. We really want to just get that app in, get it through cleanly, and close that sale. So it may feel like you all have just ran a full marathon while you've just taken in so much information. I do want you to know that there's so many tools and services available to you. Most agents didn't study medicine. You can't be expected to effectively screen every case, appeal every decline, or readily have alternatives available when a case is declined. Every case is so unique. So let me handle those things for you, because we do have a host of tools at your fingertips. We have our underwriting concierge service, which you can reach at the GoldenCare agent website. You can reach me directly, Renee S. at goldencareusa.com. You can call me on my cell. You can call me on my GoldenCare number. You have me and the team at GoldenCare behind you. Reach us through the website, email, phone. I can help with your pre-screening, completing the RX section on the app, appeals, decline placements, even how to phrase some of the questions that you may suspect something's going on. Maybe you don't know how to phrase the question to your client. Just reach out to me. I am so happy to help you guys get that sale in and out. So again, Omniflex is now available in 37 states, which now includes Maine. And for me, that is all that I have for you guys.
But that's it. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Yes, thank you all for coming. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
GoldenCare is looking forward to serving you with new tools, new products, new innovations, and always the best support in the business to help you succeed in 2022. So give us a call at 800-842-7799 or check out our website at www.goldencareagent.com.